everybody has an ugly uniform besides an LSPD. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, right.
But like
the trooper uniform makes everybody just look anemic.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hear like people were getting kind of striked for silly things, in my opinion, in the LSPD. So it kind of worried me a bit. You know what I mean?
People were getting striked for silly things in the LSPD. What kind of silly things?
Well, apparently somebody captured all the criminals, but they had cops held up and they got striked for it. So
someone captured all the criminals and then they got striked.
Well, like there was police held up. Some of the criminals left.
Oh, like what you mean? There was like a negotiation.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of just let's shoot everybody immediately, but it seems like people will get straight for it.
But did you see there was an announcement made that there were changes to the SOP? Maybe there's a change.
Wait, have you read it?
I haven't read yet, but who knows? Maybe it could be.
Oh,
there were changes to the SOPs. I haven't read it yet. I'm just gonna read it when I'm not here.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. I understand that. I mean, hey. It could be. It could be. Listen, I get there's SOPs for a reason, this, that, the third, but hey, thank you, man. But I don't know.
I feel like it really depends on like the time zone. For example, if I were to like for instance, this time right now, right? You can have a superior officer telling you, oh, if anybody tries to retrieve that vehicle that's startled by ramming it repeatedly and hitting officers, you shoot those people on site. They will make this call in this time zone. But if in my time zone, which is past 6 p.m., somebody that's a higher up makes a call, even if it's wrong to ram a vehicle repeatedly to unturtle it, and if officers are in the way, if somebody makes the call of like shoot the people that are doing this, you won't fucking hear the end of it. You will spend the next fucking 3 months getting death threats. So it really depends on like what it was the time that happened, you know. Some like this is like a more stricter time. This one, I think I see it as a more stricter time, but the
way I see it,
to be working,
yeah, I think it was around this time zone. I think.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is that the criminals didn't get shot in the head. They left. They were immediately spiked, and they all got caught. Right, so literally preserved life, preserved the cops that were in kidnaps, right?
What was the SOP that were they?
I think you're supposed to just kill them then and there. Okay. Yeah. But instead, you know, they all left and they all got caught because you can just spike immediately, right there. So I don't know, it's just honestly, it's not that
this is what I told you about is a thing that everyone tends to ignore. The SOPs work for this, like this type of SOPs work for this time, but they don't really work for my time, 6 p.m. onwards. Like if you do something like that, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know what
like,
you mean.
It's fucking tough, you know. So it depends. Like I feel like the issue with PD right now is that people are inconsistent, right? So they will have an SOP that works for this time and no one really complains about it and you can get striked for that, but the same shit does not work 6 hours from now. You know what I'm saying? So there's this inconsistency.
You're talking about like from death threats from criminal chat or something?
Much from AU to NA. I noticed that people can get confused. Like if people from this time are used to doing shit and they go to my time, they're gonna get fucked. Like they're actually going to get fucked by like acting strict, you know? Too strict. So the issue for me is inconsistency. People follow the SOPs strictly around sometimes, but in other times then everybody is more like careful, or they think twice, or they try to, you know, not make it a thing that you're having a shootout for like 2 hours and the entire police department is dead type shit, you know. It really depends on the time.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like the issue is really inconsistency. Like either we act a certain way 24 hours a day,
right,
or we don't. You know what I mean?
You're saying the criminals have some sort of expectation, but now they can't have an expectation because everybody's being different.
Exactly. The criminals have an expectation, but it's also confusing for officers. Can you imagine a person that's being trained, you know, past 6 p.m. They come to work at like 10 a.m. for whatever reason, and then they realize that people just like fucking like actually shoot people for like ramming and things like that, you know?
Yeah,
it's confusing even for the
know
police,
what you mean.
you know?
You're basically saying like if you're gonna shoot criminals for holding up cops, you need to do it all time zones, no matter what.
Well, yeah, like be consistent. That's what I'm saying, right? Because for nobody employs you and lets you know when they employ you that every time zone cops make different concessions. You know what I mean? When people employ you, they don't say that. Oh, during NA we act a certain way, but during EU we act a different way, and during AU it's an entirely different way. Like no one says that to you. They say, oh, SOPs are SOPs and they're at officers' criteria, but it's not officers' criteria. It's actually time zone criteria. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, I believe it is officer though, because in certain time zones you're gonna have different officers, right? Like me, I don't want to just shoot criminals. I rather like even if they're holding up a cop, I mean, yeah, they held him up, but they didn't kill him. So why don't we just spike them when they're leaving, right? So I'm different. I would want to do that in this time zone. Yeah, but I would.
More than the officer is the time zone that actually dictates it. Like
so then you're saying it's not the officers, it's the time zone because it's the higher ups. Then is what you're saying.
I don't think I'm saying that. What I'm saying is essentially like the criminals from this time zone are used to the police acting a certain way because there is a police culture from this time zone, right? So they are already like
they're used to the cops going
right,
tough.
Exactly, like the other officer, like the other criminals from the other time zone, like 6 hours from now. They're used to the police. They
being more lenient.
Actually, exactly. And then when people try to make the police of that time zone act like the police of this time zone, then it becomes a shit show.
There's a big uprising, right? Yeah.
Because there is a culture. There is a culture in every time zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
It's the culture that dictates like how you should work on the SOP. You know what I mean? Because they make it sound like it's the officer criteria. No. It is the culture of the time zone that dictates if you're actually going to be lenient or not.
Right, it makes a bit of sense. I mean, I think I police in all time zones the way I just police, you know what I mean? The only reason that I wouldn't be able to do that is if a higher up told me I couldn't do it. So like, let's say I did want to let the criminals go that are holding up cops. The only way I wouldn't be able to do that is if a higher up told me I couldn't, you know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. It makes sense. And I do understand.
You know what, McClane, you know what?
What?
You gotta aspire to be kind of like me, you know what I mean? Just aspire to be an officer, because the less rank that you have, the less you can get shit for actually just following orders. That is what I do.
Yeah, I know.
I fucking follow orders, you know what I mean? So if a higher up is like, oh, you know, shoot them, I'm not gonna be like on the radio. I'm not doing that. What I might do is, instead of, you know, aiming to shoot them in the head, I actually aim at the tire.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Or I aim at like I'm still shooting, but I'm just like not killing, shooting to kill or something.
Well,
like that, right?
a tire could probably fuck them a lot more than a headshot. Honestly.
So what I'm saying is, like, you know what I mean? I would hate to be the person calling the shots, because the person that's calling the shots is actually
they're the one getting
that gets the most shit, and they have to make that split-second decision, right? I like to be able to just say, hey, I was told to do this. That seems like it's the more like mentally healthy way for me to live. You know what I mean?
100%. Hey, well, why don't we get your car to the thing? Why don't we get in the car and we can talk more, and then just, you know, ride around.